How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Hbar update. It's been a while. Hope you're all well. And nothing much has changed. The trend continues to be bearish. On every bullish attempt, there's so many hurdles up ahead, and it keeps and always has been over the past months failing at the very first hurdle. I'm so thankful I had the ability to flip bearish all the way back at the beginning of February. By that point, I was only buying Bitcoin, no altcoins DCing on the way down. I wasn't holding. From this point, this was another signal for me to start exiting altcoins as well. So from that moment onwards, I was, again, only buying Bitcoin. And although there have been videos where I called for a pump, like down over here at this final wick, when it came down there at the end of February, leading into the beginning of March, there was a pump. But I was warning everyone that 24 to 27 cent would be where it finds resistance. And a couple days later, we saw another move down. And it looked like it found support, but on this lower high, I was also saying once again, this is most likely going to be the confirmation that this area is resistance. Previously was support, now resistance. And so from there, the expectation was new lower lows. However, when Hbar actually managed to get down to 17 to 18, 19 cent, you can see by my drawings, a video that I made back then, was that I was assuming it would actually confirm the bearish cross, so a move up to around 21, 22 cent, to then get rejected and head to new lower lows. But this market has not been giving significant bounces. On the Hbar chart, this bounce was not seen across other cryptos, so quite lucky to even get that bounce. The unfortunate thing was that, of course, this would have led people into FOMOing it, and then, of course, retracing that whole 60% move. Took a week to get up there, and then a week later, it was back down. And you can see from that moment, it went down minus 56%, and it's currently down minus 44%. So I didn't even give this bounce over here. Another location where a bounce should come is down over here. In the end, it went one more time lower and then got the bounce. But this bounce is just flipping previously what had to be the bottom now into resistance. So what was previously the bottom is now expected to be the top, an expected rejection point. So not expecting Hbar, unfortunately, to recover this level unless these certain things that I'm about to go through with you occur. So the trend is bearish. I've personally said that when we created this large wick, it would get filled. We ended up filling it. Once we were down there, I was expecting the bounce. The bounce came, but also suggesting 27 would be the area of rejection and then new lows. All has come true, but it might be that I say the same thing day by day, or a week passed and nothing has developed, or 2 weeks passed and nothing has developed. But later down the line, it could take even 6 months. It hasn't in this case, but there are previous examples in the past where some things that I've said has taken 6 months or even a year plus to play out, but it did in the end. Of course, day by day, as it's not happening, you get trolled. But keep in mind the trend, keep in mind what needs to occur to flip this trend. I'm not going to let outside sources cloud my thought process. And so I'm going to maintain bearish on altcoins. Even if it actually recovered this level, you might see a pump where, yes, it's a possibility to gain back some of those losses, but it will just be temporary. I'm personally waiting for the moment Hbar gets back above 36 cent. I think at that point it's created the reversal wave. Bitcoin most likely at new all-time highs. Bitcoin's at new all-time highs, clearing the path, opening up the path for everything else. Hbar should follow, then we could start talking about 50 plus cent, the previous all-time high. But honestly, until that very moment, the 886 is broken, those targets, in fact, $1, they're just not a reality. This has been what I've been reaffirming ever since that wick over here, and day by day, week by week, month by month that has passed since, it's only traveled down lower. Now this was actually one of the strongest coins, or if not the number one strongest coin since November. You can argue it was XRP or Hbar, Those are the two best coins since November last year on this initial move up. And so you could argue because of that fact, it's holding up the best because of how much it pumped. Of course, look, from November, it's still up 280%. That's incredible. But let's not forget what it was up only a couple months ago. It was up 850%. So there has been major drawdown, and a 70% drawdown. In fact, currently sitting at minus 60%. This could have been easily avoided if you were tuning into the updates or in my Discord community, because when it was actually only 35% down, we were already shifting our focus to solely Bitcoin and only DCAing Bitcoin from that moment. Because if we were to go into a bearish market, bearish trending market, then I don't want to keep throwing my money into what's going to go down more than Bitcoin. If there's not a chance to make money, then let's lose the least. And of course, the least volatile being BTC is most likely going to be the first to new all-time highs, also open up the path for alts. So I can create a base by DCAing Bitcoin because it's not going down as much, in turn keeping more money, giving a better base for when that move comes up. That move is going to come first to Bitcoin as it's the market leader. My money is going to go up with Bitcoin. And then once that reversal wave is created, once the 886 is broken, I can start shifting my interest towards alts, with Hbar being definitely one of them due to the performance from November, showing that it was literally the number one or number two strongest altcoin out there. However, once again, we're not at that moment when we don't have that criteria fulfilled. So I maintain bearish. I expect from this location Hbar to continue lower, but I'm going to show you today in this video the pivot point Hbar could be using in order to flip this bullish. So we know the levels that need reclaiming is those two red boxes, ultimately 36 cents. Then I'm going to be more bullish than all of you because the reality is at that point, new all-time highs are expected. Before that, they are not. So literally annoying if we start coming down, reversing, pumping all the way up to there. You could have doubled your money by that point, but the risk is it could just move up into there and dump into new lows. This can definitely happen. Go check out my Bitcoin video that I posted already earlier on today, showing you that exact thing. So yeah, that could be the risk. I don't want that to be the case. So I might have to miss out on such a move so that I have the optimal trading conditions. And I know from here, I'm not going to get manipulated. And we go up from here because again, yeah, we could pump up into there. I'm buying all the way through and then we get dumped on. This definitely can happen. In fact, you can even see it in this example over here. Had a massive move back up and we got these new lows. So I don't want that to happen on a more macro scale. But yes, once again, maintain this 12-cent low. Use this 13 to 15 cent area as a pivot point to recover 18 and 19. And this would then send Hbar on a move up to 22 to 27, this area. This is resistance at that point. 17 to 18 must maintain a support, create a higher low above, start targeting 36. At that point, expecting it to be resistance, come back down. This would then need to be support and then work our way up like that. Guys, there's so much to do. There's so many hurdles up ahead. And just like I said at the beginning of this update, at each and every first hurdle, it fails and doesn't do what it needs for the bulls, for the investors, and even for traders here. You see it's at support, it's not bouncing, it's not giving that bounce into the golden ratio before rejecting. There could have been another move from here all the way up into 27, the 886, and still gone to new lower lows. Imagine if it had pumped that high and aggressively into the 886, which is totally fine, can happen, and still head to new lows. That would have fooled many more people into buying because a double bottom would have formed for it to then fail and then continue lower. So we're just not in the right conditions for to make money, full stop. And we have to come from a capital preservation angle. At least this is what I've been doing since actually December time. So already All the way back over here, I decided I'm only going to be DCAing Bitcoin. This was shared in my Discord community, which I share all my personal moves. And if you're interested in attaining that info, being part of a community with other like-minded people sharing their points, including my own, you've got further exclusive content, whether that's live streams or video format in there. Go ahead and check it out, even if it's just for 1 month. I'm sure you will learn something new. Use the links down below. If you want something more private, one-to-one, I've got that also on ebook, which you could sit back, do at your own pace, at your own time, which you'll have for the rest of your life. Links down below. See you over there. Otherwise, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Peace.